Origin just owns UX, and this is How America Ended World War II, featuring the Electrician and Brandon Herrera. Why do they say featuring? Is an unsubscribed podcast theirs, right? Okay, who started that podcast? Like Electrician, Brandon Herrera, just like usually just guest or something? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, this is from obviously unsubscribed podcast. Like I've seen, after doing the reaction of the last one, I've seen Vendigoon, I think. Then obviously Brandon Herrera, Federation popping up as like recommended video clips. So are they all just like guest or part of the podcast? Like they are just the one who like, because I'm pretty sure Federation is probably always there. Same thing with Brandon Herrera. Usually when like some clips I don't see them, I'm guessing like they're busy or something. But they are like part of the podcast, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I watched the Japanese rewriting history type of way. I mean, that doesn't surprise me with the recent things that are like popping up, right? Uh, People really don't understand the concept of why certain things are really important, right? What is a slippery slope? People don't realize that, but people just think like, okay, this makes sense in my head, so let's just do it, rather than realizing what are the implications of that is, right? Like if you screw around with history, that is a big slippery slope. But yeah, apparently, like a lot of people in Japan think America was a bad guy. Uh, I guess it makes sense in the point, like I said in the video, that you did such a heinous things with the Nanking and things like that. Like, how are you gonna tell your people like that? But in the end, I still think like you need to tell the truth. You need to tell how event happened. Right? History is not about emotion. It's just like logs of what happened. This is what happened. Right? Make up your mind, but this is what happened. I don't know. So this is about how America ended World War II. Same thing with the mushroom cloud and things like that. I guess that's the most like historical thing, right? That kind of ended it, right? I don't know. So it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. If you like my reaction, comment down any other video you want me to do reaction about or something. If you haven't seen other Fat Russian reactions I did or Brandon Herrera reactions I did, check out the link in the description or the end card. The best way to check it. And yeah, let's do it.
What was the one? World War II. Someone commented on the one we did about the bombs not working. They're like, those didn't win those didn't cause the war to end. I was like, literally 3 weeks later. Literally 3 weeks later.
I'm so fucking sick of this stupid fucking communist sympathizer talking point. Okay, here's the fucking series of events. America dropped leaflets, said, hey, we're going to unleash a weapon the likes of which you've never seen. How effective those...
Hold up, the what? Warning. They did what? Where the fuck did this come from? I've never heard of this. America gave in advance 72-hour in advance warning, like we're gonna bomb it. I'm pretty sure this is not about like nuclear bomb, like that was like a secret thing, but still like the bombings that were like constantly happening, right? USA was gonna completely flatten Japan, most of it, if nuclear bombs weren't dropped. That's the one thing I've gathered by consuming all the information there is. Like if the nuclear bombs were not there, Japan wouldn't have surrendered and USA would have to eventually flatten out most of Japan, which would have caused a lot of loss of life, obviously. But they actually dropped this leaflet like, okay, we're gonna do this, right? Either take defensive measure like run away, hide somewhere or whatever to save yourself. We have to, this is some next level shit, right? Only America I've seen like constantly like they have to like play by rules like that, have to give like an advance warning and do things like that just to make sure nobody gets hurt type of way. This is insane. This is a surprise to me.
Is debatable, whatever. The pamphlets got dropped. You can see them in fucking museums. They got warned. They said, we don't care. They dropped the bomb. The emperor said, oh shit. And then they did nothing. At this point, the USSR attacked Manchuria, and then still nothing happened. America bombed them again, at which point the emperor, in a statement to the Japanese people, said, we're surrendering because of the atomic bombs. He listed them specifically. 4 days later, he said to his military...
Yeah, I think he said something line of like technology or something has gotten to a point that something like that. Like he just used words like that, like we have to surrender type of way, like we can't keep up type of shit. implying that it's atomic bombs he's talking about. Obviously, your two cities has got destroyed. Of course, you're going to talk about atomic bombs.
We need to surrender because of the atomic bombs. And also, now the USSR is piling on, and they've also attacked Manchuria. And these fucking communist sympathizers jump onto it and be like, nope, they only surrendered because of the USSR. It had nothing to do with the atomic bombs. And it's the dumbest fucking talking point I've ever heard in my entire life.
Pretty sure them bombs worked pretty well.
Yeah.
They work decently.
I mean, that part is the one part that's not really debatable.
So what people they fail to realize. So what they bitch about, or they're like, well, no, that's not true. Is there was the insurgency or the coup that was trying to happen in Japan to overthrow the emperor and make it where he wasn't said. And the emperor is the one that came out and was like, hey, yeah, we fucking surrender, because the other people didn't want to surrender at that time. That's the arguing point for it.
No, the talking point is like, well, you know, just because the dude in charge of the entire country that was literally the son of the sun god, which is the sun god is like the sun, because they had
Koku.
Shintoism during World War II. And so, like, literally, he's a god emperor, and he's like, no, we're surrendering. And they're like, cool, well, some of his generals didn't want to. And the only reason the generals didn't want to is because the emperor is like, dude, they just dropped a new bomb. It's really bad. And the dudes that weren't there to see it because they're off fighting in Manchuria and China, and they're like, cool, you've been getting firebombed for the last 6 months. Innocent civilians are dying. They didn't give a shit. So they're like, we don't want to surrender. And the emperor's like, too bad, fucking surrender. So the communist talking point is like, well, some of the generals might not have surrendered. So therefore, they only surrendered because of the USSR, which is the dumbest talking point on the planet.
Meanwhile, they're actually...
Okay, all point of that is insane. First of all, like, okay, I'm getting emperor surrendered, but generals didn't want to surrender. It doesn't matter. Emperor surrendered, and it's because of atomic bomb. So that is history. The end. End of the topic. If generals overthrew, like, emperor or something, and now they're in charge, and they didn't surrender, America would have bombed 1 or 2 more cities, and then they would have surrendered. But the end goal would have been same. I think atomic bomb at that point is point blank the most powerful weapon, and only one country had it. Like, it's not even a talking point. America would have, like, obliterated one after another all the cities that they can. If USSR didn't back down, they would have, like, bombed some USSR city as well, because at this point USSR didn't have atomic bomb. USSR was a literally one-sided powerhouse at that point. They have atomic bomb, so that's the end of that. Right? So this is not even a question. Every single country on the planet would have, like, in, like, you know, like, panic zone. It's like tribe with, like, you know, stick and stone trying to fight somebody with a machine gun. This is that equivalent. USA had nukes, nobody else had it. This is not even a question right now.
Leadership is looking at them like, dude, they just in 2 bombs turned 250,000 people into wall shadows.
Right.
This is an issue.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Brandon. There is only 250,000 people died to 320,000 died during the 2 nukes. People,
God,
it's not
you know those
fucking
numbers
millions.
off the top of your
Shut
head.
the fuck up.
People
Shut
say
the
millions?
Yeah, that is one of the.
Yes.
They like
What?
the nuke killed
Yes.
millions of people.
Yes.
They
Where?
compare it to the Holocaust. Y'all fucking retarded. Pass. You haven't seen that?
No, I have never
Yeah,
fucking
people
heard that in my
like-
Oh,
life.
dude, it's horrible. The amount of people that
That's
have
easily
that have-
Googleable.
They don't care. As soon as you tell them that, every f***ing time, any amount of civilians killed is too many, and it's inexcusable. It's like, oh,
You're going to
okay,
hate the history of warfare.
of humanity. Like you have a child's view of fucking reality. Sorry
Do
about
you
it.
want to talk about the USSR and civilians? Like,
You know what? Any people that were killed in Pearl Harbor was too many. So it's like talking to the children at this point. Like, what is your argument? World War was about to end. Nearly 100 million people already died at that point, right? So any argument you have about, like, killing too many or killing this, killing that, that was already out of the window. We passed that point way long ago. Too many people already died now. It was all about, like, how to end the war definitively, right? That was the question. They would have bombed 5 cities, I believe, if they needed to. And they would have done that without even thought, right? They bombed 2, they would have bombed 5 if it means end of the war. Because at that point, many years have gone past and nearly, 100 million or whatever the number is, they already died. Compared to World War I, World War II was insane. And that's compared to World War I. It was already the Great War, World War I. The numbers are insane of the World War II, right? So at that point, nobody cared. Like they would have just bombed the cities after cities if that mean ending the war.
What do you want to talk about?
Japan and civilians and what they did.
There's that whole
You guys
thing.
are trying to piss me off.
What happened in Nanking?
The dancing of Nanking.
Starts with an R and it's not a
They still don't admit that shit.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's one of the biggest things. They will not. So
Is it because there's like no photos?
Huh?
no, there's photos. Oh, there's
Well,
photos.
isn't there like very few though? I couldn't remember.
No, Japan just won't teach it in their own school.
Yeah, and they also
Yeah.
kind of low-handed play the fucking victim, and a bunch of communist American historians help them out in doing it.
I know I heard somewhere like either they're repressed or something, but they don't circulate the photos of it because they considered like Western
Oh yeah,
propaganda
of course
or
they
something.
they all hide their shit.
That's what. So winners, yeah, losers.
Which,
Well, that's why we-
Jesus Christ, I'm gonna punch you. Do not bring the winners history thing. I can't stand it. I can't stand any time I bring up sources and people are like, oh, well, you need to read the fucking Russian textbooks or you need to read the Japanese textbooks because you're just reading the American version and winners write their own history, blah, 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 blah.
Look, man, here's the point. People debate that Earth is not round, it's spherical. People say it's flat. Any evidence you give me is a lie, propaganda, or just half a truth. That's the level of people who just don't want to listen. Doesn't matter what. In the end of the day, you exist, right? Beyond that, anything is open to interpretation, right? That's how it is, right? I could be sitting in like an insane asylum right now, screaming my head off, and all this is just in my imagination. That is a possibility, right? So this is the world we live in. People just like any evidence you give me is like probably propaganda. At that point, there's no point of discussion. Just walk away, right? You can only hope that those people are extreme minority and world hasn't gone insane. You don't need to debate those people. Because like, oh, okay, winners history. So these people won, so they wrote history. Winners are the only one who write the history. Like, so at that point, unless it's your version, it's not the truth. That's what you're saying in the end. Everybody's a liar because it's not your version. Come on.
Blah. Winners do write their own history, okay? Who won World War II? Let me oversimplify all of it for you, okay? World War II is just a clash of ideologies, okay? So you have communism versus fascism versus capitalism, okay? Far left, communism. Far right, fascism. In the middle
Don't fucking
is
point
fucking
to me when you
capitalism.
say that.
Far right.
Shave that mustache a little smaller.
That's the fascist right there. He's also, by the way, he's also like up for the like election or something. There you go. That's fascist right there.
With friends like these, I
Why
fucking
did you
come
say
to
my
my
right?
issue.
So anyways, it's just fascism versus communism versus capitalism, right? You fucking threw me off. Oh, so on both ends, they abolish the opinion. Like they just delete whatever they don't want. So like Nazis are famous for burning books. Okay. It's illegal in Russia right now as of 2017 to even talk about the Ribbentrop Pact. Right, which is, if you don't know, that was the pact that the USSR had with the Nazis, where they weren't going to fight each other during World War II, and they were each going to take over their own chunk of the world and be fucking allies. Because the USSR,
Poland still remembers that one.
yeah,
though.
Poland does, because when did World War II start? Like September 1st, 1939, when the Nazis invaded Poland. Right, remember that? You remember 2 weeks later, during September 17th, 1939, when the USSR also invaded Poland. Yeah, you don't remember that because they don't teach that part in school, because the USSR is 100% just as guilty for starting World War II as Germany is. But you know why you don't know that? Because it's illegal to talk about in places like the Eastern Bloc European countries. It's literally fucking illegal to talk about that, okay? Because they abolish the history they don't like. That's the far left. Far right, they're burning.
Yeah, I think what happened during that time is like same thing that is happening today. USSR / Russia basically trying to take over areas around it. I don't know, like weird paranoid way of thinking, like we need those areas to defend our Moscow or something. I don't know. Basically same thing. I think they tried to do the same thing during the World War II time, but then realized like, okay, wait a minute, the Germany is like going a bit too aggressive, too insane, taking over France and everything. Oh, by the way, they're also going to come after the Soviets because they don't like Soviets. That's the whole thing. And then like Soviet Union is like, okay, you know what? We need to fight Germany now. That's how it happened. But Poland thing is so insane because that's not the first time. Catherine the Great time, and many times Poland always get the just screwed constantly over and over again by powers around it. They just take the, like taking like pieces of cake or something. They just take the pieces right there.
Fucking books. Capitalism in the middle. Guess what we talk about? Whatever the makes money, homie. Anybody that's got a shitty opinion, you can publish a book. Okay, you know the whole stupid fucking like, oh, a German tank is worth 5 American Sherman tanks, but the problem is there's always 6 American tanks. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's not true. 5 Sherman tanks would fuck up any German tank on the battlefield, period.
But I've seen Fury.
Right, yeah, exactly. The reason that you think that, though, is because there's a fuck ton. All the Nazi high-ranking officers that weren't convicted of war crimes and killed, they all went and wrote memoirs and got them published.
So they were the original SEALs.
And made money.
Well, that's in the mailer.
Congressional candidate.
SEAls are Nazis.
Now I gotta dude. Now I gotta like go find my SEAL buddies. Like, all right, it was funny, yeah.
But no, like you don't get to be like, oh, you guys only publish what makes you look good while we're.
This is why they want me to quit the podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fine. Sorry. While we're also publishing all the memoirs of enemy soldiers after the fact, where they glorify themselves. Like, it doesn't even make any, like, that argument holds zero fucking water. There's no winner's history in capitalism because capitalism just cares about making money and will feed you whatever line of bullshit that makes you buy books. And that's why you guys believe a bunch of fucking stupid shit.
Dude, we raised $110,000 for autism.
And my autism hates communism.
Dude, that's what I love. I can tell this keeps you up at night. I was like, man, mine is like editing or cameras, and then I just picture you in the middle of the night like...
It's the fucking meme of like the girl rolled over, like he's thinking about other women. You're like, oh, did I ever tell you about the time?
Bro, I'll legitimately like be laying down in bed ready to go to sleep, and I'll just read a comment, and it's just some stupid pro-communist shit, and I'll be up for the next 3 hours, just angry, arguing with myself, like just arguing against the intelligent communist that lives in my head, trying to come up with good counter arguments just so I can beat them.
And then
That's
you go
called
and look at
schizophrenia.
research.
And you need to calm down. You'll never win. That's the thing. These people will always be there. Doesn't matter what you say, won't matter. You can just like recite entire history, like have the best argument. None of that will matter. Just let it go. Like enough people realize, right? So one thing about like capitalism or just America in general, right? Sure, there are people who try to mold the picture like CIA, NSA, right? They have agendas or things. But the best thing about that is, as soon as people realize that is and just like shed the light on them, they just go into panic mode. Why? Because they know they don't have real power. They're not going to be able to suppress anything, right? In America, you can go to president's face and just like, you know, like scream at him about something, and that's fine. Right? You can do the same thing about like, you know, like Supreme Court or something in any news channel or something, just say shit about them, right? In America, there's going to be people and group of people with agendas, but as soon as anything comes to light, they all go to panic mode because they know they can't do shit. They can't suppress people saying things, like putting things out there. So saying the entire America and people, things like America has this like singular agenda, who just like like history washes everything and just mold into their picture or what they want to say, and there is nothing or no one around them out of like 400 million Americans. None of them is gonna like say the real truth. That's just insane. What, all of them, right? All of them have agenda and trying to do something, and like, okay, winners write history. That's just stupid.
Dude, it's horrible. Oh my God, it's awful.
It's true, too. I can tell by
I'm
your eyes.
1,000 miles ahead of you. I've had this debate in my head 50 fucking times. You're not winning.
I've debated a smarter man. Me.
Legit.
Oh, Hannah's just walking in.
Bro,
like anything you
talk
do.
to my wife. She's like, what's wrong? I'm just walking around the house pacing, talking to myself. Just angry. So mad.
Like, this is the shit I've said to myself. What do you think I'll say to you? I don't even like you.
Just drawing it out.
That's
the Charlie
that's,
Day boy.
that's
Right.
not real communism. Did I tell you I figured out the perfect fucking analogy for that's not real communism, by the way? Okay, so like, that's not real communism, right? Hear me out. Imagine we were baking.
Brandon needs another drink real quick.
Here's the logic that goes into that's not real communism, because every fucking time they're like, no, those guys ruined it. We should keep trying. Okay, imagine we're gonna bake a cake, Cody, me and you. I got this recipe, right? It was this recipe, according to the recipe, is gonna cure everything. People are just going to be perfect people. Everybody's going to be happy. We're all going to jerk each other off and sing Kumbaya. It's going to be fantastic.
So you have Zins.
Huh? Maybe. I should. Where are Zins?
The one thing I forgot.
Do you want some Zins?
Yeah,
Cody
kind
has
of.
them.
So we got this cake, right? We're baking this cake.
I should have known better.
And I know what you're thinking. You're like,
Passenger seat? Yes, sir. Thank you, dude.
You're the best.
you're like, what is the recipe for this cake? How do you know this? Surely whoever came up with this recipe must be the best baker of all time. Well, that's where you're wrong. Homie never baked a cake ever, okay? His name was Carl. He wrote this book. We'll call it the Cake Baker's Manifesto, okay? Never baked a cake in his fucking life, okay? But he spent his entire life theorizing how to bake cakes and bitching about the current state of cake baking in the world, okay? And he came up with this perfect plan, and I believe in it. So tonight, we're going to go to Eli's house. We're going to bake this cake, okay? I'm going to pull out the cake pan. I'm going to take a shit in it because that's what the recipe says to do. We're going to stick it in the oven at 450. We're going to pull it out. We're going to eat it. Guess what? It's going to taste like shit. Now,
I'm uncomfortable with German baking analogies.
no, it's fine.
Okay.
Naturally, this cake tastes like shit. And you know what? It's Eli's fault because Eli's oven f***ed up my cake. So we're going to burn Eli's house to the ground, and then we're going to kill Eli. Then we're going to go to Cody's house. Then we're going to bake the cake at Cody's house exactly how I just tried it at Eli's house. Guess what happens? It tastes like shit. No. Naturally, it's Cody's oven's fault. Clearly. So we're going to burn Cody's house down and kill Cody. Okay. Then we're going to go to Brandon's house. Brandon's going to be like,
Brandon
Nick,
is nervously sweating.
Nick, maybe, just maybe.
What happened
It's
to
the
Cody?
recipe and not everybody's oven. At which point I'm going to inform Brandon that you're uneducated and that you should read a book and go to college, because if you did, you would know that this recipe was going to work perfectly, even though it never fucking has ever in the history of mankind.
Nick, it's good to see you again. Why isn't Cody answering my calls?
I'm not gonna let the Patterson's intense passion. I believe everything he says, that he paces in his house, stay awake at night thinking about this shit, because that I can feel that. I can feel, okay, in science it's called emergence, right? After all these tries, if every time it's just shit, right? In the end, it's the fault of the recipe. And yeah, I completely understand about that communism element of like crowd videos and God knows what. I watch many videos and like read like how people, starry eyes try to see communism as like, oh, there is a perfect communism out there, but it never works. The human error, the human element. Whenever you think of communism, how perfect it is, you're not thinking of human element. And humans, when they get involved, and we are fucking humans, it will always turn to tyranny. Right, like it always does. There is no perfect communism, right? There can be middle grounds, like how like Scandinavian countries are doing, like socialism / democracy, capitalism, whatever, like taking the bits of them, trying to make it work, and they're like the most educated, most happy. Sure, that works, right? Some people argue like that small scale with those small countries gonna work. Something like, let's just say USA or India or something like that wouldn't work or something, but okay, nobody knows that. But when it comes to communism, that thing never works. It has never worked multiple times. So our common sense is it's not gonna work. So people keep have this like idea, and I won't be surprised like few centuries from now, there will be another big emergence of communism. They're trying to make it work, still not gonna work. That's a fucked up thing about like humanity. That is, the cycles keep gonna repeat it. That's just fucked up, right? So yeah, well, that was how America ended World War II, featuring the Patterson and Brandon Herrera. And yeah, unsubscribe podcast. If you like my next one, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.